What's going on, everyone? Dodgers choked. What an absolute embarrassment. Seriously. I mean, all this talent, all these players, all this money spent, everything like that. Like to win game one and then just lose three straight against the Padres, who you've dominated and owned for since the beginning of baseball, basically. And even this year, everything in general, to just get embarrassed, have a 3-0 lead, and then give up five runs. You know, David Roberts, I've said it time and time again, he is terrible. And I don't know, I don't understand the fascination and just obsession that the Dodgers organization have with him. I've said this before in the past, like you go look at old videos and stuff. People have even recently commented on him again, where I talk about Dave Roberts, that I don't think they win another championship as long as he is the manager. I just don't think he's a good manager. I don't think he makes the right sets, the right rotations. I don't think he lets pitchers get into a groove. I don't think he manages baseball well. I don't. I don't think he's a good baseball player, period. Now, look, this isn't all on him this year. Like, I think years in the past, it has been solely on him and just his love for Kershaw and stuff like that in the past. But, I mean, this was on the players. This was on the pitchers. This was on just the team in general. The bats just had many opportunities to get the job done and failed. The pitching was great. We're looking great, and then all of a sudden we just fall apart. And it's just I don't know what the answer is. You know what I mean? Like, don't get me wrong. I think Walker Buehler healthy would have helped. Who knows what would have happened? You got a guy that a Scion level type of pitcher. I don't know if he'll ever be that again, but if assuming he never got hurt, I think that you would have had that rotation. That guy that could have probably gotten another win in this. But I mean, look, if this was a tough series and they lost, that's one thing. But that's not what this was. They got absolutely embarrassed. They got dominated. Like, this is unacceptable. I just think this is. Congrats to the Padres for getting the job done. They won when it mattered. They won when it counted. And the Dodgers just didn't. The Dodgers just, I mean, this is epic proportion failure, epic proportion disaster. Like, how are you? I have no words. Like, it's mind blowing to me that they blew this lead the way that they did. This was a game that they should have won, that they should have had control of, and then went back to LA and lived with the result. If they lost, they lost. If they won, they won. Great. They would have went and played the Phillies. I think, personally, and this is just my thoughts, I think the Phillies are going to get just smacked by the Padres. I think they would have gotten smacked by the Dodgers. I think the best case scenario was the Phillies beating the Braves, which they did. And I think the Padres, they're going to get some rest. They're going to go and play the Phillies. And they handle them. And, I think it's a sweep, maybe one game. I just think that the Padres have too much. Their bullpen's too good. They have too many bats, stuff like that. Phillies, their bullpen has been nice as of late, but I still don't trust their bullpen. I think that they had a nice little stretch here, but I don't trust their bullpen. I think that, their bats have gotten hot, which is good, and they do have hitting. Don't get me wrong, but we've seen them all year just kind of be hot and cold, hit or miss, and just fall apart late in games, and I think that that's what's going to happen in this series. So I think the Padres make it to the World Series. I think the Astros make it to the World Series. I think that that's probably what it's going to be. It's going to be the Astros and the Phillies, especially if the Astros get to play the Indians. I think that they run through the Indians. And then, whatever result is the result. But this is just, the Dodgers need to really evaluate this upcoming season. They need to get pitching. That was my biggest concern at the start of the season. Relief pitching and even starting pitching. I was really concerned with that. Kershaw was, playoff Kershaw. Just didn't show up, didn't do what they needed him to do. Dave Roberts loves him some Kershaw. Always pitches him like he's this, like he's that guy, that ace still, and he hasn't been. He has his moments. He had a great year, don't get me wrong, but we've seen this from Kershaw. We know what this Kershaw is. And so it wasn't surprising when that happened, when we lost that game. And then we should have won yesterday, and we didn't. And we definitely should have won today. Today was a game that you walk away with a W. Today is a game that you go into LA, riding that momentum, riding that high, and you go and you get the job done, and then you rest and play the Phillies. That's not what happened today. The Dodgers gave. How do you give up 5 runs in the 7th when you've just been pitching like this is a collapse of like epic proportion. This is an unexcusable, unacceptable collapse. And I really think the Dodgers organization really need to take a step back. I really think they need to fire Dave Roberts. Like, how much proof do you need that Dave Roberts doesn't have control of this team, doesn't manage well, doesn't, prep well? He just, I don't know. I don't know what the fascination is. I think that they need to get rid of Roberts immediately. I do. I hope that this offseason we hear, that they've replaced Dave Roberts and they've brought in somebody in more competent. We have way too much talent on this team. Way too much talent. This team is far too good. Even with the lack of pitching and relieving, and even with Walker Buehler hurt and Kershaw not being Kershaw, we have more than enough talent to where we should have walked to a World Series. Walked to a World Series. And the fact that we the first series that we actually play, we lose. That's just, it's unacceptable. This isn't how this season should have ended. And look, I'm not saying like that they were just unbeatable and that nobody could have beat them and stuff, but this was a game, like if this would have been a hard-fought series and they lost, probably feel a little differently. I'd still be upset, don't get me wrong, because it's still a series that they should have won. But it would have been a little more justifiable. All right, look, hard-fought series. The Padres pitching was great. Bat showed up. Sucks. We lost. But that's not what happened here. We just blew this series at every corner we could. We didn't get the job done. We failed in every possible way we could fail. We had a 3-0 lead for the first time in the series. What was it? It was something like 29 innings since there was like a 3-point difference. And the next inning, you give up 5 runs. 5. Give up 5 runs. It's just, there's no excuse. This is inexcusable. This is just, it's sad. Like, this is a pathetic display from the Dodgers. This is not how this should have happened. This is not how this should have went down. The Dodgers, even if they lost, they should have lost in a hard-fought series, tough out, whatever. All right, I could live with that. I can hang my hat on that. But that's not what they did. They came in, they win game 1, things are on track. Okay, all right, we're good. This is how it should start. Go get game 2. I didn't think the Dodgers were gonna sweep the Padres or anything. I didn't think it'd be a 3-0 series. I figured the Padres would get at least 1, maybe 2 games. Because Padres are really good this year. And, if they win the World Series, I won't be surprised at all. But this was a series the Dodgers should have won. They have always owned the Padres. They've always, the Padres have the Dodgers living rent-free in their head. This should have been a good old-fashioned smack 'em. That's what this should have been. This should have been an easy, just series. You go in, you have a hard-fought series, but you win in 5 or you win in 4, and that's that. Shouldn't have been the other way around. The Dodgers should not have lost this series. They should not have lost the way that they lost. Up 3-0, you allow them to come back and then just beat you. And it's just, as soon as they came back, as soon as they tied the game, I knew it was over. I was like, oh, this is it. I was even texting a buddy of mine and stuff, and we were going back and forth. And I was like, look, if they do come back, I was like, I think they win the series. But I was like, I just don't trust them to come back. I think this is it. I think they're about to lose right here. And then I get the 2 outs, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe we can get out of this. And then no, boom. There it goes, 5-3. I knew it. The game was over. I wanted to pre-record this video just because I knew it was going to happen. But I was like, I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to put it out there. I don't want to end up, hindsight having to re-record a video and change my perspective. But I was like, I just know how this is going to go. I've seen this movie. It just turns out that this was the case. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Good, bad, ugly, somewhere in between. What do you think of this? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think this was an embarrassment, a collapse of epic proportion? Think this is a series we should have won? You think that this is shameful? Are you upset? How do you feel? Take this as your like support group, because I'm right there with you. I feel you. This was a series we should have won. But again, love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comment section below.